Welcome to today's webinar, or should I say it's an explainer video. I am Thaisa Hunter. I'm the Executive Director at Elite Med Staffing Group. And what we're going to talk about today are the three levels of assessment and how it's really the key. It is the master key to unlocking you acquiring the best and the perfect candidate, right? Because no one's truly perfect, but these are things and levels of assessment that you can put in place to make sure you get the ideal candidate that you know is going to be able to have levels of high performance, right? And these levels of assessments are going to be able to pull out key indicators that'll tell you not only how they're going to perform, but what they are like as a person. And that's really key here. So first we're going to start off with more than not your process looks like, right? And we break those down into levels, starting with the level one. This is about the impact of someone's performance and how we actually judge those people when they're coming through their interview process and going through their rounds of interviews. It usually starts with level one, right? That's kind of what I say is that appear to. That's almost like that love at first sight kind of situation, right? They look the part, right? They stand up straight, they speak well, right? They have this level of expressiveness, their presence. It's really their mere presence, right? And so that person appears that they can actually get the job done. That means a lot, but it's a surface thing, right? It's the mask. It's the actual societal mask. So we got the appear to level right there, and then we move over to level two. Now, this is where majority of recruiting teams, internal teams, talent acquisition folks stop. They stop right here at level two. They don't go beyond level two, regardless if they do one or two rounds of interviewing. What is level two? This is what they can do. So we move from the appear to, right, to the can do level. And inside of that can do level, we understand their knowledge base. We understand their acquired skills that they have acquired all through the years, their level of experience, right? Their education and their credentials. They have it all. They are the perfect person on the on their resume. Or even if you go check their references, they are what they say they are. But that's still not always going to give you an indication of how they will perform, right? It really doesn't. So, 'cause like I said, everybody puts their best foot forward. What I call like a social mask, and that's human nature. There's nothing wrong with it. It's quite normal. So we want to be able to dig below the surface. We want to be able to get a little bit deeper of who they actually are, and that's what we call level three, which is what someone will do. What will they do once they're on the job? How will they perform? How will they work with others? What is their leadership style? How do they collaborate with others? Are they analytical? Are they more to themselves? How are they self-motivated? Do they have to be motivated by others? What is their behavior? What is their temperament? What is their beliefs? Their attitudes? These are all things that we say they will do on that third level. But here's the kicker. That third level is not done until after they're hired, right? Because you don't really get to know who's who until they're actually on the job and they're actually performing and they're intermingling and they're working with others. And this is where we get, where they say where the rubber meets the road, we really get to see who is who. Are they who they said they were? Right? But here we go. But most people's process is levels one and two is done in this pre-employment assessment. And the third one is not done until after. And by that time, it can be too late. You recognize that this person does not fit in with what we got going on here. They're not a cultural fit. They don't even work well with others. And that's no fault of your own. These are some things that you just can't predict. But here's the thing. Our process that I'm going to show you, again, that you can implement yourself. You don't have to necessarily work with Elite Med Staffing Group, but you can implement this yourself. We want to do this. Let's go over here. We want to do this in the actual pre-interview assessment. This is our process. We do all three levels in a pre-interview assessment. So before you ever receive a candidate, you're going to see how they pan out. You're going to see aspects or know aspects of them before you ever interview them the first time. So it's a high level of screening, because when in our process, what we have are behavioral assessments. Some people use behavioral assessment, some people don't. We like to use behavioral assessment because it gives us a level of predictability of how people will perform, the attitudes that they will have. What it does is give you another tool. It's never the one all be all situation when it comes to behavioral assessments. That's where people get in trouble with behavioral assessments. They lean too heavily on it. It's like another tool. Like if you are a carpenter or you're a construction builder and you're building a house, you have an assortment of tools. That's what a behavioral assessment is. It's nothing but another tool to go along with your experience in hiring and your own level of intuition that you use during the hiring process. This is what the assessment is going to be able to provide you, right? So in our process, again, we do it in a pre-interview stage. So this is so that so you're going to get exactly the type of individuals you want during that first round of interviewing. Because when we do a behavioral assessments, it's going to give us a prototype. Now, I'm not going to be able to get into that today because we're going to save that for next week. So if you're here today, make sure you tune in next week as we go over the actual McQuaig behavioral assessments that we use and see how you actually formulate the perfect profile or the perfect candidate that you want to have in your organization. And so we use these assessments when we're giving them to the candidate. And so now we have a prototype and then we have an assessment that a candidate does and we match them and they overlap. It's just like the movie Weird Science. I always use that as a reference because if you remember the 80s, you remember that movie Weird Science with Kelly LeBrock and how the young guys created this perfect woman, her brains, or her personality, things like this. Well, this is what we do with you when we work together, we partner together, and you tell us the exact type of person you want for that role. What do you want their temperament to be, right? How do you want them? What type of leadership style do you want them to have? And so our system aggregates that and creates this prototype. So again, we use that prototype in pre-interview stage. So the next time you actually have a short list of candidates, they fit the bill. They fit the bill in every aspect, every point that you really emphasize as a hiring team. That's what we do here. And so that's really what the three levels of assessment are. And again, it's a major key in making sure that you're able to unlock getting the perfect candidate. Because just think about it. If each person, that short list of 3 to 6 candidates, if I know they already line up perfectly of what I want as a candidate, and so I have now a level of predictability of how I think they will perform. And so it really is able to minimize the time that gets wasted interviewing people that don't fit the bill, right? They look great on paper. Remember the can-do level, this level here, level 2. They look the part, right? They look the part and they have all the skills. But at the end of the day, they're not an actual fit because you found things out about their attitude. You found out that they're not very persistent. You found out that they're not self-motivated and all these things. So it's going to really help de-risk the actual process of you hiring the wrong person. This is why the 3 levels of assessment is so powerful. Now, this is something you can implement yourself with your hiring team, or you can do that as when you partner with us at Elite Med Staffing. So again, I want to thank you for taking the time to understanding and learning what the 3 levels of assessment are and how they can be extremely beneficial for you and your team. So again, next week we'll go into the actual behavioral assessments. I'll show you how it's done, how it's aggregated, what it means, and how powerful it is as you continue to, take these steps to unlocking the perfect candidate. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them. You start firing away right now. I'll be more than happy to answer. Or if you're interested to learn more, I always give free assessments out to those so you can see how accurate, how powerful, and how accurate the actual behavioral assessment is. And then you'll understand why 90% of Fortune 100 companies use behavioral assessments, why 75% of Fortune 500 companies use them, because they're highly accurate and they're a great tool, and it's really a way to get rid of unconscious bias that we have going on today in the workplace. And if you want to learn about our Empower process, our whole proprietary methodology and how we recruit, go ahead and shoot me a DM. I'll be more than happy to get on a quick consultation, a discovery call with you to give you an entire breakdown and see how we can actually help improve and get you that next perfect hire. So remember, you're only one decision away of making your next great hire. So until then, I look forward to seeing you around the platform and signing out. Over and out. Have a great day.